When it comes to our rogues gallery today, there's no competition. Senator Ted Stevens, the Senate's longest-serving Republican, found guilty just a little while ago on 7 federal corruption charges, and Joe Johns has the very latest on the Stevens saga.
An epic career in the Senate reduced to this: guilty on 7 counts of lying about gifts from friends back home, including one friend, an oilfield services company executive who specialized in bribing politicians and getting political favors. But the fall of Ted Stevens wasn't about some Wall Street-sized payoff. This was mostly about small things, which he claimed were either loaned property or unwanted contraband, like a decorative metal fish, a fancy outdoor barbecue grill, a massage chair from Brookstone. The one big ticket in the $250,000 controversy, home renovations. Workers for that oilfield services company jacked up Stevens' single-story A-frame home in Alaska and transformed it into a multi-story chalet, though Stevens insisted he paid for the work.
I will tell you, we paid every bill that was given to us. Every bill that was presented to us has been paid.
You can't say Stevens didn't see trouble coming. Audio tape played during the trial showed he knew what could happen if he were ever discovered.
Might lose, and we might have to pay a fine, might have to serve a little time in jail.
Stevens was always unapologetic, if not proud, of his legendary success of pumping federal money to Alaska. The last 4 years alone, he pushed for $3.2 billion in earmarks for the state. His success came from his seniority, 40 years in the Senate, more than 6 as chairman of the Appropriations Committee, and from his legendary bullying tactics.
I'm going to go to every one of your states, and I'm going to tell them what you've done.
And yet, despite his considerable successes, this wily veteran of the Senate seemed to throw it all away on a huge gamble. He asked for a speedy jury trial right before an election, and then he testified in his own defense, which allowed the prosecutor a chance to chew through his explanations, excuses, and alibis. The jury did not buy it and did not give him a break. Stevens says he's innocent and calls himself the victim of prosecutorial misconduct. He plans to appeal. He once called himself a mean, miserable SOB. It's almost as if Senator Ted Stevens of Alaska nominated himself for induction into our no bias, no bull rogues gallery. Now, Campbell, Stevens has never been one to give up without a fight, and he's promising to appeal, but there is an even more important verdict looming from the voters next Tuesday.
Hey, there certainly is. Joe Johns for us tonight. Joe, thank you very much. So let's make it official. Hit the wall, Ted. The latest member of the No Bias, No Bull Rogues Gallery is, of course, Senator Ted Stevens. And joining me right now, as always, Jeff Toobin, CNN senior legal analyst and a former federal prosecutor. So, Jeff, he says he's going to fight this. I mean, what are his options here? And what kind of sentence is he looking at?
Well, he has the option of fighting on, but his real problem now is political. The election is next week. He is a convicted felon. The race with Mark Begich was very close. Stevens was slightly behind. It's inconceivable to me that Stevens will win at this point. So he's basically looking at being voted out of office. The conviction itself does not throw him out of office. He can stay in, but anybody who's convicted of a felony is going to wind up getting thrown out by his fellow senators.
But he could get jail time?
He could. I doubt it will happen. He's 84 years old. These are not the most serious felony charges. He's not a prior felon. I think it's very unlikely he'll get prison time.
This is just amazing to me. A convicted felon, not a disqualifier for political office.
No, it is true. And there are senators and congressmen who have fought on, but the rule has been the fellow senators vote you out if you don't resign. Chances are, I mean, he's not going to resign in the next week because I guess he'll think that maybe he has a chance in the election. But after the election, presumably he'll lose. He will probably serve out to the end of his term because it's only a few more weeks. But he does not have to leave.
And
he does not.
It is amazing.
And he does not lose his pension. Even if the conviction is upheld on appeal, he keeps his pension, which is pretty outrageous when you think about it.
When are they going to change the rules on this?
Well, they did change the rules on it, but he's grandfathered in because of his prior service in the Senate. So
a whole separate story.
A whole separate
wow.
outrage.
God, Jeff Toobin for us tonight. Good to see you.
All right.
Thanks. And that